morning, students. Myself, Dr. Hariharan, Associate Professor from Department of Biochemistry. In today's class, we are going to learn about amino acid chemistry. In today's class, we are going to see when we will call a molecule as amino acid. That is definition for amino acid. Second, we are going to classify amino acid. That is classifications of amino acid. And what are the different abbreviation and symbol we are going to use for different amino acid. And finally, we are going to see about derived amino acid. So we'll start with the introduction. So there are totally 5 nutrition which is required for our survival. So what are those 5 nutrition? First one is carbohydrate, protein, lipid, vitamins and minerals. So what are those 5 nutrition? Let's repeat: carbohydrate, protein, lipid, vitamins and minerals. So out of this, one of the important nutrients is protein. So protein is required for all the function which occurs in our body. That is, let's assume you are going to consume a food. When you chew that food, that muscle which is made up of protein. Okay, when you chew a food, the saliva which is produced in your salivary gland will mix up with the food, and the enzyme which is present in the saliva will break down this nutrition into multiple small molecules which can be easily absorbed. So this enzyme is made up of proteins. Once the food enters your small intestine, to get absorbed, you have channels in your cells of endothelial cells of small intestine. Those are made up of proteins. Once it is absorbed, to transport it through the blood, you need albumin, which is a protein. Okay, and to store the nutrition, you need protein. For example, iron will combine with apoferritin and it will be stored in the form of ferritin. Okay, all your antibodies are made up of protein. The neurotransmitters are derived from protein. So all the function in our body require some sort of protein, and these proteins are made up of amino acid. If you see, this linear chain is a protein. Let's assume each circle represent one amino acid. Okay, so what is a protein? Protein is a polymer of amino acid. That is, if I combine multiple amino acid like this through peptide bond. So let's consider this is one amino acid, this is second amino acid, and the bond which is going to combine these two amino acids are called as peptide bond. Okay, when I combine multiple amino acid through peptide bond, I'm going to call that chain as polypeptide chain. Okay, so if you combine multiple amino acid through peptide bond, you are going to call that chain as polypeptide chain. Okay, if the number of amino acid present in a polypeptide chain is more than 50, then you are going to call that polypeptide chain as protein. Okay, so proteins are made up of amino acid, and today's class is about amino acid chemistry. Okay, let's see the structure of amino acid. So when we are going to call a molecule as amino acid, so we can call a molecule as amino acid if it has amino group and an acid group. So it should be having an amino group, that is NH2, and an acid group, that is COOH. Okay, remember in biochemistry, the first carbon to which the functional group is attached, we are going to call that first carbon as alpha carbon. Okay, so here in amino acid, we have two functional groups, that is amino group and carboxylic acid group. These two functional groups are attached to a carbon, so we are going to call this carbon as alpha carbon. Okay, and carbon has 4 valency, right? So the first valency is attached to amino group, second valency is attached to the carboxylic group, and the third valency will get attached to the hydrogen, and in the fourth valency will get attached to different molecule. So this different molecule is called a side chain. Commonly it is called a side chain or R group. That's why we are represented as R group. Okay, so this is the common structure for amino acid. Okay, but if I take this amino acid and place it in an environment, in a solution in which the pH is 7.4, that's the pH of blood. Okay, so if I place it in an pH of 7.4, that is the physiological pH, the hydrogen ion present in the carboxylic acid will be dissociated. So this COOH will become COO minus. Okay, and one hydrogen will get attached to this amino group NH2, result in formation of NH3 plus. Okay, so the amino group will get positive charge and carboxylic group will get negative charge at physiological pH of blood 7.4. Okay, so the net charge will be 0. Okay, so at physiological pH, the amino acid structure will be like this. Okay, so you should memorize this structure. So you should remember only the structure, common structure of amino acid. That is this particular structure. Okay, no other structure which I am going to explain later in this class is not important. Okay, it's only for you to understand. Okay, so in today's class, this is the only structure you have to memorize. Okay, so based on the molecule which is going to get attached to the side chain, we have different types of amino acid. For example, if I attach a hydrogen molecule in the side chain, I'm going to call this amino acid as glycine. If I attach a CH3 methyl group, I'm going to call this amino acid as alanine. If I attach a branch chain like this, I'm going to call this amino acid as valine. So based on the molecule which will get attached to the side chain, we have different types of amino acid. There are totally more than 300 amino acid present in the nature, but we are going to read only 20 amino acid which is present in our body. Okay, only these 20 amino acids are coded by the gene which is present in our DNA. Okay, so these amino acid are called as standard amino acid. Try to read and come what is mean by non-standard amino acid. Okay, we will discuss in the next class. So remember, there is something called a standard amino acid and non-standard amino acid. There are 20 standard amino acid and few non-standard amino acid which is present in our body. So what is the definition of amino acid? If a molecule has two functional group, what are those functional group? Amino group and carboxylic group. Okay, if this two functional group is present in a molecule which is attached to alpha carbon, you are going to call it as an amino acid. So what is the definition for amino acid? So it is a molecule which has both amino group and acid group. Okay, so when you are going to call a molecule as amino acid, it should be having amino group and acid group. It should be having two functional group. Then you are going to call it as a amino acid. Okay, this is the definition for amino acid. You can pause this video and you can write it down. Okay, the definition for amino acid. Okay, next we are going to see the classification of amino acids. So if you see the molecular structure of all the 20 amino acid, the standard amino acid which I had mentioned, okay, we are going to see the classification of only about the standard amino acid. Okay, uh, all the standard amino acid will be having an amino group. It will be having an carboxy group which is attached to the alpha carbon, and the alpha carbon will be attached to the hydrogen. Okay, in the fourth position, based on the molecule which will be present in the side chain, we have 20 different types of standard amino acids. Okay, so now we are going to classify this 20 amino acid based on the side chain only. Okay, so that's why the first classification is called as classification of amino acid based on the variable side chain. Okay, that is, what are the different molecule which will get attached to the side chain. Okay, based on that we are going to classify all the 20 amino acid. Okay, second classification is based on the polarity of the side chain, that is whether the side chain is polar or non-polar. Okay, same 20 amino acid we are going to classify based on the polarity. Okay, third, same 20 amino acid we are going to classify based on the nutritional requirement. And the last one, so classification based on the metabolic fate. Okay, so the 20 standard amino acid can be classified into four different type of classification. What are those? First classification is classification based on the side chain variability. Second classification is classification based on the polarity of the side chain. Third classification is classification based on the nutritional requirement, and fourth classification is classification based on the metabolic fate. Okay, we'll see one by one. Okay, we'll start with the first classification. Classification based on the variable side chain. So under this first classification, we have totally 9 subclasses. So what are those 9 subclasses? First subclass is simple amino acid. Simple amino acid. Second subclass is branched chain amino acid. Branched chain amino acid. Third subclass is hydroxy group containing amino acid. Hydroxy group containing amino acid. Fourth subclass is sulfur containing amino acid. Sulfur containing amino acid. Fifth subclass is acidic amino acid. Acidic amino acid. Okay. Sixth subclass is amide containing amino acid. Seventh subclass is basic amino acid. Eighth subclass is aromatic amino acid. And the last one is ninth subclass is amino acid. You can pause the video, you try to memorize all the subclass, then you can continue. Okay, so let's revise. What are those subclasses? First subclass is simple amino acid. Second is branch chain amino acid. Third is hydroxy group containing amino acid. Fourth is sulfur containing amino acid. Fifth is acidic amino acid. Sixth is amide containing amino acid. Seventh is basic amino acid. Eighth is aromatic amino acid. And the last one is amino acids. Okay. So we are going to find out which are the amino acid, 20 amino acid, which will come under each of the subclasses. Okay. We'll start with the simple amino acid. So why these amino acids are called a simple amino acid? Because if you see the side chain is made up of very simple molecules like hydrogen in glycine and CH3 methyl group in alanine. Okay, so we have two simple amino acid. What are those? Glycine and alanine. Okay, glycine and alanine. Memorize it. Okay, you can pause the video and memorize it. Okay, so in simple amino acid we have two important amino acid. What are those? Glycine and alanine. What is the next one? Branch chain amino acid. Okay, why it is called as branch chain amino acid? Because if you see the side chain of the amino acid, all this amino acid, it will be branched. Okay, it will be branched like this. Okay, so that's why these three amino acids are called as branch chain amino acid. So what are those amino acid? Valine, leucine, isoleucine. Valine, leucine, isoleucine. Okay, what is the third subclassification? Classification based on hydroxy group containing. Okay, that is in the side chain we have hydroxy group. Okay, if you see here you are having hydroxy group, right? So all these three amino acid has hydroxy group in the side chain, that is serine, threonine, tryptophan. Okay, serine, threonine and tryptophan. Okay, repeat it: serine, threonine and tryptophan. Okay, so hydroxy group containing amino acids are serine, threonine and tryptophan. What is the next one? Sulfur containing amino acid. We have two sulfur containing amino acid, cysteine and methionine. These two amino acid has sulfur molecule in the side chain. Okay, remember, please note it down. In the cysteine we have sulfhydryl group. Okay, what is sulfhydryl group? SH group. Okay, so out of the two sulfur containing amino acid, which one is called as sulfhydryl group containing amino acid? Cysteine. Okay, it's very important. Okay, it has clinical significance. I will discuss it in the class. Okay, fifth subclass is acidic amino acid. Aspartic acid and glutamic acid, these two are called as acidic amino acid. Why these two amino acids are called as acidic amino acid? Because all the amino acid has carboxylic group in the as one of the functional group, right? But these two amino acids are called as acidic amino acid because in the side chain they have extra carboxylic acid group. Okay, in the side chain they have extra acid group. That's why these two amino acids are called as acidic amino acid. Okay, if I add amino group here, okay, if I add amino group to the carboxylic acid which is present in the side chain, it will become amide. Okay, that is, to convert an acid to amide, I have to add amino group to the carboxylic group which is present in the side chain. Okay, so aspartic acid, on adding amino group, it will become asparagine. Glutamic acid, on adding amino group, it will become glutamine. Okay, so what are the corresponding amides of these two acidic amino acids? Asparagine and glutamine. So these two will come under amino acid with amide in the side chain. Okay, amide in the side chain. So they are corresponding for aspartic acid and glutamic acid. Okay, so this is the sixth subclass. What is the seventh one? It's a basic amino acids. Okay, so we have totally three basic amino acid, that is histidine, lysine and arginine. Okay, why these three are called as basic amino acid? In the side chain we have extra amino group. Okay, if you see here we are having extra amino group. Okay, it is going to provide the basic nature. Okay, so these three amino acids are basic amino acids. Okay, next coming to eighth subclass, that is aromatic amino acid. Okay, phenylalanine, tyrosine, tryptophan and histidine. Okay, so here I had projected only three amino acid, but in aromatic amino acid there are totally four. What are those? Phenylalanine, tyrosine, tryptophan and histidine. Okay, remember, tyrosine will come under hydroxy group containing amino acid as well as aromatic amino acid. Histidine will come under basic amino acid as well as aromatic amino acid. Okay, these two amino acid will come under two subclasses. Okay, the last one is amino acid. What is an amino acid? If you see here, I have told you in amino acid we have two functional group. One is amino and the second one is carboxylic acid. Okay, these two should be getting attached to the alpha carbon. But if you see here, in the alpha carbon we have only COO, carboxylic acid group. We don't have any amino group. Okay, but later this amino group which is present in the side chain is going to form a bond, result in formation of a cyclic structure like this. Okay, it will form a cyclic structure like this. Okay, so now this alpha carbon has an amino group and a carboxyl group. Okay, but this amino group, there is a amino group which is a part of the side chain which is getting attached to the alpha carbon is called as imino group. Okay, now it is called as imino group. That's why this amino acid proline will come under amino acid. Okay, there is only one amino acid you should remember, proline. Okay, so these are the 20 different types of amino acid. Okay, you can pause the video, try to memorize all the amino acid which will come under this first classification, then you can move on to the next classification. Okay, so let's revise. Which are the simple amino acid? Glycine and alanine, right? Glycine, alanine. Okay, which are the branching amino acid? Valine, leucine, isoleucine. Okay, valine, leucine, isoleucine. Okay, which are the hydroxy group containing amino acid? Serine, threonine, tryptophan. Serine, threonine, tryptophan. Okay, which are the sulfur containing amino acid? Cysteine, methionine. Cysteine, methionine. Okay, which are the acidic amino acid? Aspartic acid, glutamic acid. Corresponding amides, asparagine, glutamine. Okay, which are the basic amino acid? Histidine, lysine, arginine. Okay, and which are the aromatic amino acid? Phenylalanine, tyrosine, we had included. Tryptophan, histidine we are already included. Okay, and finally which is the amino acid? That is proline. Okay, so these are the 20 standard amino acid we had seen in the first classification, that is classification based on the variable side chain. Okay, next coming to the second classification, that is classification based on the polarity. Okay, whether the side chain is polar or not polar. Okay, so based on this we can divide all the 20 amino acid into two subclasses. What are those? Polar amino acid and non-polar amino acid. Okay, so there is a easy method to remember this. Okay, if you can able to memorize the first classification, we have a very easy method to derive all the amino acid which will come under polar and non-polar. Okay, so any molecule, to call it as a polar, it should be able to form bond with water. That is, either it should form a bond with H plus ion, or else it should form a bond with OH minus, which is part of water. Okay, so either it should be having positive charge to form bond with OH minus, or it should be having negative charge to form bond with H plus ion. Okay, so which are the amino acid which has positive and negative charge? So what is the charge of an acid? Acid is a molecule which can able to donate an hydrogen ion. That is, it can able to donate a positive charge. Once a molecule donate a positive charge, what will be the charge of that molecule? It will become negative. Okay, so the charges of acidic amino acids are negative. Okay, the charge of acidic amino acid is negative. If you see the basic amino acid, it has the ability to take up one hydrogen. Okay, when it takes up one hydrogen, it is taking up one positive charge extra, so it will become positively charged. Okay, so all the basic amino acids are positive charged, all the negative amino acids are all the acidic amino acids are negatively charged. Okay, so under polar amino acid, all the acidic and basic amino acid will come. Okay, what are those? Aspartic acid, glutamic acid. Okay, and histidine, lysine and arginine. So all these 5 amino acid will come under polar. Next, not only charges, that is, even in the absence of charge, if the amino acid has SH group in the side chain, or amide group in the side chain, or hydroxy group in the side chain, it can able to form a bond with water. Okay, so when it forms a bond with water, it will get solubilized, it will get dissolved in the water, so it will become polar. Okay, so which are the amino acid which has hydroxy group in its side chain? Serine, threonine, tryptophan. Okay, serine, threonine, tryptophan. Okay, which are the amino acid which has sulfhydryl group in the side chain? Cysteine. Okay, so what is the remaining one? Which are the amino acid which has amide group in the side chain? Glutamine and asparagine. Okay, so these are the amino acid which will come under polar amino acid. That is, you have to remember All the acidic amino acid, all the basic amino acid will come under polar, and all the corresponding amide will come under polar. Okay, and all the hydroxy group containing amino acid will come under polar, and sulfhydryl group containing amino acid will come under polar. Okay, so these are the amino acid which will come under polar. All other amino acid, that is all the rest of the amino acid, will come under non-polar amino acid. Okay, it's easy to remember, right? So if you can remember, the set of amino acid will come under polar. Okay, rest of the amino acid will be non-polar. Okay, so that's all about classification based on side chain characteristics, that is whether the side chain is polar or non-polar. Okay, the importance of knowing this polarity of the side chain I will explain in the class. Okay, next coming to the third subclassification, that is classification based on the nutritional requirement. So based on the nutritional requirement, the 20 amino acid can be subclassified into three subclasses. So what are those three subclasses? Essential amino acid, semi-essential amino acid, and non-essential amino acid. Okay. So what is an essential amino acid? So these are the group of amino acid which will not be produced in our body. Okay. What is an essential amino acid? These are the group of amino acid, that is these are the set of amino acid which will not be produced in our body. Okay, if it is not produced in our body, it has to be essentially provided in the diet. Okay, it has to be essentially provided in the diet. So that's why it is called as essential amino acid. So why it is called as essential amino acid? These group of amino acids are because those amino acid which cannot be synthesized in our body, hence these amino acid are to be supplied in the diet. Okay, it has to be essentially provided in the diet. That's why they are called as essential amino acid. Okay, so the mnemonic to remember which are the essential amino acid is mat will fly. Okay, only thing is, instead of writing mat, you have to write down METT VIL PHLY. Okay, so this is the mnemonic. Okay, so let's see what are the amino acid which will come under essential amino acid. Okay, so the first amino acid is methionine. Okay, Me stands for methionine, T stands for threonine, and the second T stands for tryptophan. Okay, methionine, threonine, tryptophan. V stands for valine, isoleucine, leucine. Okay, valine, isoleucine, leucine. Okay, PH stands for phenylalanine, LY stands for lysine. Okay, so these are the 8 essential amino acid, okay, which you have to remember. Okay, you have to remember all the 8 essential amino acid. Okay, so how to remember? Mat will fly. Only thing is you have to write it as METTVILPHLY. Okay, Me stands for methionine, threonine, tryptophan, valine, isoleucine, leucine, phenylalanine, lysine. Okay, next coming to semi-essential amino acid. Why it is called a semi-essential amino acid? Normally it is produced in our body. First point. Okay, in adults as well as in children, it is produced in our body. In adults, the concentration of these amino acid which is produced in our body is more than enough. Okay, but in growing children's, the concentration which is produced is it's not adequate. Okay, so you have to provide that excess amount which is required. Okay, that has to be provided in the diet in essential quantity. Okay, so now it has become essential. Okay, the why it is called a semi essential? It is not always essential. Okay, in adults it's non-essential, but in case of children's it will become essential. That's why it is called as semi-essential. Okay, so which are the amino acid which will come under semi-essential amino acid? Histidine and arginine. Okay, histidine and arginine will come under semi-essential amino acid. Okay, and the rest of the amino acid will come under non-essential amino acid. Why these amino acids are called as non-essential amino acid? Because from essential and semi-essential amino acid we can able to produce these amino acid. Okay, that is the rest of the amino acid. Okay, that's why these are called as non-essential amino acid. Okay, so all the rest of the amino acids are called as non-essential amino acid. So we have seen first three classification. Okay, classification based on the variable side chain, classification based on the side chain polarity, and third classification based on the nutritional requirement. And the last classification is classification based on the metabolic fate. Okay, metabolic fate. So based on the metabolic fate, we have three subclasses, that is ketogenic amino acid, glucogenic amino acid, both ketogenic and glucogenic amino acid. So what is meant by ketogenic amino acid? If amino acid, when it is catabolized, when it is broken down, when it is catabolized, the end product which is produced from that amino acid is, if it is ketone body, you are going to call it as ketogenic amino acid. Okay, if an amino acid, when it undergo catabolism, the end product which you get is glucose, you are going to call it as glucogenic amino acid. Okay, if an amino acid, when it is catabolized, when it is broken down, if you get both glucose and ketone body, you are going to call it as both glucogenic and ketogenic amino acid. Okay, so based on the metabolic fate, we have three classification classes, that is ketogenic, glucogenic, both ketogenic and glucogenic. Okay, there are only two ketogenic amino acid, that is leucine and lysine. So how to remember? Ketogenic, K stands for kill. Okay, so KILL. Okay, so ketogenic amino acids are KILL. L stands for leucine and lysine. Okay, so purely ketogenic is, we have two purely ketogenic amino acid, that is leucine and lysine. Second, both ketogenic and glucogenic is aromatic amino acid except histidine, that is phenylalanine, tyrosine, tryptophan. Phenylalanine, tyrosine, tryptophan and isoleucine. So how to remember? The mnemonic is PITT, P-I-T-T. P stands for phenylalanine, I stands for isoleucine, T stands for tyrosine, and the second T stands for tryptophan. Okay, PITT. Okay, phenylalanine, tyrosine, tryptophan and isoleucine. Okay, these are the amino acid which will come under both ketogenic and glucogenic. Okay, and rest of the amino acid will come under purely glucogenic amino acid. Okay, purely glucogenic amino acid. This rest of the amino acid will come under purely glucogenic amino acid. So what we had seen till now, we had seen the definition for amino acid. That is a molecule, if a molecule has two functional group, that is amino group and carboxylic group attached to alpha carbon, then you are going to call it as amino acid. Okay, then we are seeing the classification for amino acid. In classification for amino acid, we have seen four classes. What are those? Four different types of classification. Classification based on the side chain variability, classification based on the polarity, third classification based on the nutritional requirement, fourth classification based on the metabolic fate. So this is what we are seeing till now. Next, coming to the 21st and 22nd amino acid. Okay, so I told you we have 20 standard amino acid and few non-standard amino acid, right? So 21st and 22nd amino acids are non-standard amino acid. Okay, so it is a non-standard amino acid. Okay, what is a standard and non-standard amino acid? Standard amino acid are the one which will be coded by gene in your DNA. Okay, so if the amino acid is coded by the gene in your DNA, you are going to call it a standard amino acid. Okay, but if you see here, they are produced co-translationally inserted into the protein. Okay, that is 21st and 22nd amino acid will be co-translationally inserted into the protein. They are not produced through coding from the gene. Okay, so how they are produced? Let's assume you are having a mRNA. In that mRNA, you are having UGA code. Okay, normally UGA code stands for stop codon. Okay, normally UGA stands for stop codon. Okay, but here along with the UGA code, there will be an additional signal sequence. Okay, along with the UGA code, there will be an additional signal sequence. Okay, whenever stop codon UGA present with the signal sequence, okay, in that position the translation will not stop. Okay, instead of that, serine amino acid will be replaced, will be converted to form selenocysteine, and this selenocysteine will be inserted at that particular position of the protein which is getting synthesized. Okay, so the selenocysteine is produced from serine. Okay, it's not from cysteine, even though the name contains selenocysteine. Okay, it is derived from serine. Okay, then why it is called as selenocysteine? Why it is not named as serine? Because if you see the structure of these cysteine and selenocysteine, they are structurally similar. The only difference is here you will be having sulfhydryl group and here you will be having selenium. Okay, so that's the only difference. That's why we had named it as selenocysteine. Okay, so even though it is not related, okay, even though selenocysteine is derived from serine, okay, this selenocysteine is present in lot of proteins. The protein which contain selenocysteine is called as selenoprotein. Okay, enzymes are also proteins. Okay, and some of the enzyme in their active site we have selenocysteine protein. Okay, right now no need to uh, try to find out what is the active site of an enzyme. Okay, in few classes we'll be starting the enzymology, so at that time we'll teach you what is meant by active site. Right now just remember, in enzymes at the active site selenocysteine will be present in few enzymes. Okay, and you should memorize two or three of these enzymes. Okay, that is glutathione peroxidase, glycine reductase, 5' deiodinase and thyrodoxine reductase. Okay, so at least you should be able to remember this four enzyme, okay, in which the active site we have selenocysteine. That's all about 21st amino acid. Next, coming to 22nd amino acid. Okay, 22nd amino acid is pyrrolysine. Okay, 21st amino acid is selenocysteine, 22nd amino acid is pyrrolysine. Like selenocysteine, pyrrolysine is also a non-standard amino acid, and this is also produced by co-translationally inserted into protein. But only difference is, in case of selenocysteine, the stop codon UGA will be having a signal sequence after that UGA sequence codon, stop codon. Okay, here following UAG, if you have a signal sequence, lysine will be converted to form pyrrolysine, and that will be incorporated into that growing polypeptide chain during translation. Okay, so it is co-translationally inserted into the protein. That's all about 22nd amino acid. Next, coming to the abbreviation and symbols. Okay, so all amino acids are given abbreviation, 3-letter abbreviation and 1-letter symbol. Okay, so the abbreviation is very easy to remember. That is, the first 3 letter is given as abbreviation. For example, in case of cysteine, it is CYS. In case of histidine, it is HIS. In case of methionine, it is MET. In case of leucine, it is LEU. In case of lysine, it is LYS. Okay, but if you see the symbols, the first letter is given as a symbol for most of the amino acid. Okay, for most of the amino acid, the first letter is given as the symbol. But for example, if you see here, leucine and lysine has first letter as L, so we cannot give the same letter for as symbol for both the amino acid. Okay, so in that scenario, what they had done is they had found out which is the most commonest among these two in our system. Okay, for example, if you consider these two amino acid, leucine is the most commonest one. Okay, so for leucine they are given L, and for lysine they are given the nearest alphabet, that is K. Okay, so like this they are given symbols for all the amino acid. They are given 3-letter abbreviation for all the amino acids. Okay, next, coming to derived amino acid. Okay, next coming to derived amino acid. What is a derived amino acid? If we add some chemical, or if you modify the existing amino acid, whether it is standard or non-standard amino acid, and if you obtain an amino acid, that is called as derived amino acid. There are two types of derived amino acid. Some of the derived amino acid will be present as a part of the protein. Okay, that is derived amino acid present in protein, and some of them will not be present in protein. Okay, derived amino acid which is not present in protein. For example, proline, when it is hydroxylated, it will become hydroxyproline, and lysine, when it is hydroxylated, it will become hydroxylysine. Okay, so this hydroxylation of proline and lysine is required to form this hydroxyproline and hydroxylysine, which is required for the maturation of collagen. Okay, only when proline and lysines are hydroxylated, the collagen will get mature. Okay, and gamma carboxylation of glutamate is required for platelet activation. Okay, so these are the derived amino acid which is present in the protein. Coming to the derived amino acid which is not present in the protein, examples are ornithine, organosuccinate, citrulline. All this amino acid will be, you are going to read it under urea cycle. Okay, when you read about the protein catabolism in urea cycle, you will read about ornithine, organosuccinate and citrulline. Okay, so that's all about derived amino acid. And some of the amino acid are used in treatments. For example, D-penicillamine is used as a copper chelating agent. N-acetylcysteine is used in the treatment of cystic fibrosis disease. Okay, gabapentin is used as anticonvulsant, and azathioprine is used as anti-cancer drug, and cycloserine is used as anti-tuberculosis drug. Okay, these are some of the drug you should memorize, which are amino acid. Okay, so to summarize, you had learned the definition of amino acid, classifications of amino acid, abbreviation and symbols, and derived amino acid.